Check, check. He says, hey, really good. How are you doing? Good. Yeah, but it's like not aimed. My collar I need to fix because it's not aimed. And I'm trying to get everyone notice that it's 3 o'clock, so I figured if I jibber-jabbered into my mic, people would. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. It's 3 p.m. of the Urban Design Commission. I will call roll. George McQuistion here. Brian Fitzsimmons. Betsy Bunstetter. Present. Donna Cervantes. Jorge Charnico. Here. Matt Guillory. John Robeson. Here. Ben Sellers. Here. Jeff Struble. Here. Okay, we have a quorum. The first item is the approval of the minutes. I had a question about the minutes under item 6A, and actually two questions. One's minor, the other is probably a little bit more substantial. But under item 6A, where we have the motion from Ben to approve, but then we say it failed by lack of a second, underneath that motion we have a bunch of votes that I think belong down lower, or just take those out. And then my more minor question was, if Ben makes a motion and no one seconds it, I'm not sure it even becomes a motion of the commission, because I think it stays, according to Robert's Rules of Order, I believe it stays with the commissioner and doesn't actually, what they call, go to the floor. So I don't know if you even need that in the minutes. I don't know, Rita, how you feel about that or not.
I like the way they have it listed, failed for lack of a second, because it failed to go forward.
Okay.
And so I think that's what you probably intend, is that it failed to go forward at all.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So
I like what you're saying, but I think what their intent is that nothing happened.
I got you. I got you. So maybe if someone wants to make a motion to approve the minutes with that one change being take the vote record out under Ben's initial motion.
So moved.
It's a motion by Brunstetter. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Struble, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Next item requiring our attention is 7A, 1000 Northwest 24th Street. Michael.
This is a proposed simplified planned unit development for the southeast corner of Northwest 24th and North Ollie, which is just the north half of the block behind the office building that was recently approved on the site of the previous Hemi's Pizza building site at the northwest corner of 23rd and Ollie. And it's right across the street from the substation that was recently approved last year for remodeling and a parking lot. The reason the applicant is proposing to do the SPUD is for some standards that reflect under the underlying existing zoning of R2. They're proposing to upgrade to a modified R3M zoning, and largely that's because they're trying to get more density than the R2 would allow, and they're actually looking at a 6-unit project, even though the SPUD would allow up to 8. So that's kind of a synopsis of why they're proposing the SPUD, and we've recommended that the commission approve it. Obviously, the applicant is not here, so if there's any questions the commission has that I can't answer, then let it go to the commission to decide what to do with it. So,
I actually have 3 housekeeping questions. One is, in this application, the legal description of the SPUD, if I'm reading it right, Exhibit A, is lots 3 and 4 of Block 10. But I believe they would want to include lots 1 and 2 as well.
Don't they say 3 and 4 and 1 and 2
Well,
in the application?
Yeah, I'm just reading.
It says 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 on the application, but in the legal description.
I know no one ever reads a legal description. I generally don't either, but for some reason I did, and I said 3, 4, okay, well that's 50 feet.
We can.
Where's the other 50 feet?
We can advise the zoning department to make sure that gets corrected going forward.
Okay. Okay, so that was one housekeeping thing. The other housekeeping thing was, we refer to 8 connected dwelling units often, which is fine, but in all the drawings and the images, there are 6.
Right.
Do they want to say a maximum of 8, or how do they want to, what do they want
They
to?
want, I mean, the zoning they're requesting under the SPUD, the modified R3M, would allow up to 8.
Okay,
And I asked them that same question.
okay,
I said, why are you asking for 8 in the SPUD when everything you've shown us is 6? And they said, that's what the zoning would allow us if we got the SPUD approved this way. And we'll probably come back in with a 6-unit project.
Yeah.
But under the standards they have proposed in the SPUD, which is the modified R3M, they would be allowed up to 8.
okay. Well, as long as they're fine with it and the understanding is up to 8, that they're not
Right.
shoehorning themselves into having to develop 8, then that's fine. And the third housekeeping question I had was, in their SPUD application, they refer to this shared parking agreement, or shared access agreement, rather, with the property to the south that you already talked about, the thing that we've already approved. But I didn't know if, from a legal standpoint, that a SPUD could, in one location, could kind of unilaterally say we're going to share access with the property to the south. And of course, right now it's the same owner, so there's no big deal. But
Right.
if the ownership was ever separated, I guess my specific question is, does there have to be a shared access agreement signed as part of this SPUD application?
It looks to me from the preliminary site plans we're seeing that this project could function on its own without any parking on the south side of the alley, so I'm not sure why they feel they need that shared access. There are some stalls here shown on the north side of the alley, and perhaps what they're trying to do is to have that parking reserved for the office building or the retail on the south side of the alley, and maybe that's where the shared element comes in, as opposed to the residential units using parking on the south side of the alley. So we'll have to ask them about that. I don't think that the SPUD itself can enact that agreement. There would have to be a separate document that would do that, and then, of course, upon a sale, that would be between the seller and the buyer to make sure that that either expires or does not.
Right.
We're in a zone here where no parking is required per the code, so it's not like they're going to not meet a parking standard if they don't have the shared parking.
Right. I think there's also an issue with using the dumpster, too. And I think these are nits. These are not critical issues, but I just didn't know if this SPUD refers to it, if it has to be incorporated somehow.
We can clean that up with the zoning department as well and make sure that we have that all buttoned up before it goes to planning commission.
Okay. Those are all the questions I had. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions.
I did. On doing this SPUD, will this come back to us for their?
Yeah, the actual project would require a certificate of approval that would come back before the commission, but we can't take it to you until we know the SPUD's adopted, because we won't know what standards to review it against until the SPUD's adopted.
Anyone else? Any questions? Any motions?
Real quick,
Yeah.
so can you explain the MR or what RM or whatever it is, the underlying zoning for the SPUD?
Well, the underlying zoning right now is R2.
Right,
And they're
and what
trying
is
to,
it?
they don't want to abide by that. They want to get more density than that.
Okay,
So they're just going to a R3M zone.
R3M.
It's it's one of the standard zoning classifications in the city zoning code.
So it limits it to 8 units, and it doesn't really stipulate that they're all flats or they could be on top of each other or whatever.
Doesn't need to, I mean,
Okay.
they can configure however many units they want to put on the property per the density limitations. They can do that in a variety of ways, and there's no need to specify which way they do it in the SPUD.
Okay. And the height limit is 3 stories?
Yes.
I move approval, or I move to recommend approval to the Planning Commission.
Okay, that's a motion by Brunstetter. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
So, Jorge first. Tom.
Whoever did.
Charnico, seconds. All in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? Okay, that recommendation is approved. And the next business is 7B, elect officers. Okay, now, let me lay out some things here. Let me lay out some thinking to try to ameliorate everyone's anxiety about this. So, there's what I call, to start off with, the Fantastic Four, which is Matt, Jorge, Donna, and Ben, who are the people who are kind of able and likely to serve as the next chair. That in order of seniority goes Matt, Jorge, and then Donna and Ben came in together. So Matt's not here, and Lisa, I think, quite intelligently had emailed him to say, hey, you're not going to be at the meeting, but would it be all right if you were called upon to serve? Could we nominate you in absentia for one of these roles? And he said, if called upon.
I nominate Matt.
Can I just want to get through the. And then Jorge, who I ran into in the men's room downstairs. I know I had to wait there. I was waiting down there for 45 minutes for him to show up, and finally he did. And who, with second in seniority, long story short, said he would accept being vice chair. And then, given that Lisa's goal for us is to rotate through the chair position and not do what I've done for the past several years, there's a certain logic to that, to go through seniority of the people who were eligible and kind of set the stage for rotating through. So anyway, with that as background, I recall there seemed to be a motion that I'm not quite sure I heard about to nominate Matt to be chair. Who made that? Jeff. Okay, do we have a second? Okay, that's Struble, Brunstetter motion to elect Matt Guillory as chair for the coming year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Matt is elected chair. And vice chair.
I move for George Charnico to Jorge. Sorry, I need to pronounce it correctly.
Okay, that's one motion. Do we have a second? Okay, that's Brunstetter and Sellers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Oh, any other nominations? Okay. So yes. So then, congratulations, Jorge, and thank you very much for your willingness to serve. So, and I think that since we've elected the new people, that I turn it over to Jorge at this point, don't I? The next meeting. Okay.
Are you eager?
I was like, really? That's right. I could be out of here in a second. Okay. So item 8A, communications. Michael, anything that is especially noteworthy here?
No, they're all pretty standard revisions, minor level, that we can do administratively at staff level.
Okay. Any comments from planning department staff? Nope. Okay. Bye, Betsy. Comments from commission members? All right. The next meeting date is on your agenda, and given that we have no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.